Who here wants to build an aesthetic body with the minimal amount of training? So we're going to build on our recent lectures of understanding our body composition, setting our nutrition up, and then also fixing previous injuries. Today we're speaking specifically about workout routines, and as we get through this video, I'm going to give you a specific workout that will build you an aesthetic body with the minimal amount of training that you need to do so. Who is this video for? Not people like me who are gym rats, who live in the gym 7 days a week. This is for people that honestly, time is just not on your side. You understand the importance of getting in shape and needing to do it, but you just don't have the time to do it. I've worked with clients in the past when I was working in Dubai, and this worked really well for them. Busy professionals can only train a few times a week. They need a set routine that can still get results, and it does still get results. So lead into this video with optimism. So if you are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Tom Sergi and I run the Gorilla Platoon, and we get results like this, which is pretty cool. So why this video is important to you? Working out is, honestly, it's a non-negotiable for like every human being with a human body, because even if your priority is sport, is running, is martial arts, whatever it is, you still need to do resistance training to keep yourself injury free. If you've never done any resistance training, just done your sport for the longest period of time, you would get injured. Even I've got friends that do BJJ where it's like technically non-impact. They get injured and they're off the mats. It is a lot less painful to just allocate a couple of times a week to keep your body strong and healthy than it is to go through the pain of being injured and not being able to do your specific sport or discipline. And no one wants to get like pains and aches in their body. If you can avoid that by doing some general resistance training to keep yourself fit and healthy, then you will do. So I do appreciate that the gym does not consume everybody's life, and you don't want to pursue it like a bodybuilder 5 days a week, eating like strict meal plans and whatnot. Although at some point in people's lives, everyone probably needs that, just because if they've let things slip, you've got to take that route in order to get down to a lean physique from a dietary standpoint, not from a training standpoint. So that's why this video will be important to you. You need to have the prescription that you can take with you and think, I don't have to do this 5 days a week and I can still do my sport. I just need to do a couple of sessions and it's going to look like this and I can still look how I want to. So my promise to you is by the end of this video, you will have a workout routine that fits your current lifestyle. And the way we're going to achieve this is go through the process of 3 steps. We're going to look at a needs analysis first, so we can understand you and your situation before we start prescribing anything off the back of it. When you're piecing together your program, although you can copy the one I give you in this video, I just want you to understand the fundamentals of why things are the way they are, because then it will make a lot of sense of why you're doing something, instead of just going in and like throwing a few weights around. We want to actually think a little bit smarter about this. And weirdly enough, thinking smarter and just spending a little bit of time in doing this, it'll just mean that you go into the gym with a bit more confidence and a bit more like energetic zest about you, knowing you're going to do something for a certain reason to get a certain outcome because it's a certain way. Like if we have clarity on something, generally we're more likely to take action. And then we'll go through the specifics, the exercises, the sets, reps, tempo, all the good stuff, why I've put this program together and what sort of a result that will get you. So the first thing we need to do is a needs analysis. So we want to look at your current body composition. Now, let's say you come to me and you look like this. You are a rugby player at heart. You've got well-developed legs and they need to stay well-developed because you don't want to be getting any injuries. But you also would like more attention towards the upper shelf, specifically the pecs, delts, and the arms. We currently sat around 19% body fat. Now, if you would come to me, we need to do the full plan. Obviously, we'd then go into dietary setup, time frame it would take to get down from the body fat you are to the desired body fat to be an athlete. But we've done many videos on this, so if you want to know your current body fat, what food you should eat, and how long it'll take to get to the goal, go back to the first lecture on how to assess your body composition, and that will tell you all the information here. Specifically, we're just going to stick to the programming needs in this video. And you tell me you can allocate only 3 sessions per week in the gym of an hour a piece at a time. So only 3 hours out of the whole week can be allocated towards the gym. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to give you another substitute for this guy if he could only go twice as well. So you're going to get a 2/3 workout routine. They're very, very similar, to tell you the truth. It's just a little change as we go through. So we understand who we're working with and then what is next needed. And you want to do this when you're piecing together your own program. You want to decide, this is my constraint, this is my weakness, what I want to fix, this is what I want to bring up, and I want to do it for this reason and this sport. It may be that you don't even do sport. It may just be, I can only allocate 3 times a week because I'm a busy professional, I'm a dad, I'm running a family, I'm running a business, I've got work, I've got this, that and the other, but I want to stay fit and healthy and look the best I can. How can I look the best I can with these metrics? So you analyze what you want, and now we go into the next step, which is the fundamentals. So there are three pillars when we're piecing together a program, or you could call them variables that we will change. Now, the first one you want to look at is frequency. This is how many times you can go and train. We know that this guy can train 3 times per week. So it's not a massive amount of frequency, like compared to someone that can go 5 days, but it's not the end of the world. With frequency of 3 times per week, we can still train that upper body at least 2 times per week. And we can keep his legs that are already well developed at maintenance. Likewise, if we needed to flip the script, if you needed to bring up your legs and your body was fine, then we could piece it together. Legs were getting trained twice per week. Why am I big on saying train twice per week? Well, because once you've hit the muscle, it takes around 48 hours for it to recover. So after that 48 hours, there'll be a dead space in the week of about 3 to 4 days where we could hit that muscle again and make some more gains. Likewise, you could say, but I'll just do all the sets on one day. And technically, in terms of a volume standpoint, that wouldn't be wrong if we're looking at hitting 10 sets per week. But where are you going to be more effective, more accurate, more deliberate, more intent? If you took half of the sets and put them on a fresher day, when you went in fresh, well slept, well fed, coffeed, good to go, which ones are you going to get more out of yourself for? So they're not all sets are created equal, but we want to give them the best chance that they can do. Now, volume is the amount of work on a given muscle group, and we measure this in sets typically. And we're aiming for as close as 10 as possible. Like if you can do 10 sets for a muscle per week, you're going to make a lot of gains. Now, you could push it all the way up to 20, and especially with the muscle groups that are smaller, it would serve you to do so, but time is not of the essence, and you can still make a solid amount of gains off 10. As you go above 20, you're in the space of diminishing returns, because likewise, if we had frequency, volume, and intensity, and we could train every day, loads of volume and really hard, would that be effective? Probably not, because although we're doing the max we can and fair play and good effort, you'd just be surviving in the program after a certain period of time. You'd just be like, you wouldn't be getting the dosage, growing, recovering, and producing the muscle off the back of it. You'd just be trash the muscle, trash the muscle, trash the muscle, and that's it, done, dusted. Likewise, on the flip side, if you could only train once per week, one set, and you and you just tickled the weight, you're not going to make any gains at all either. Now, intensity. When time is limited, your sessions have to be hard. So for everyone watching this video that's going to train 2 to 3 times a week, your intensity has to be up there. Your intensity has to be as hard as you possibly can, and you will measure this by RAR, reps in reserve. This is how many reps you could do if I was stood over you going, go again, and you go again, I'm going to go again, and go, and we keep going until you literally failed and you couldn't lift any more. If you want to know if you're training hard enough, I've got a video on how to tell if you're training hard enough. And what we look at there is muscular failure and mechanical or technical failure, and then mechanical failure, which is when the muscle actually fails. So you can go and watch that to work out if you are training hard enough and to understand what really training to failure looks like. So we're going to take these 3 variables, and we're now going to create your program with the goal of keeping the legs strong, developing an upper body aesthetic physique, and we've only got 3 hours to really allocate to the program. So, workout A. Let's piece this here. Workout A. So this is an upper body workout where we are going to do antagonistic paired sets. This means you train opposing muscles to each other. You'll notice we've labeled it as A1 and A2 because you're going to do your set on A1, you're going to rest for the duration that's allocated, and then you're going to go straight into set 1 of your A2. And what this does is it keeps the opposing muscle fresh, because if you think about it, you're going to do the set, you're going to rest for 90 seconds, you're now going to do this set here, which is going to take you 60 seconds because of the time it takes to do 10 reps at this tempo. So you've had 2.5 minutes. Then you're going to have another 90 seconds, and then you're going to go back into that original set. So you're going to be a lot more effective and a lot more deliberate when going into that set. So we'll go through that's why things are labelled here in the A1 and A2. Likewise, you've got B1, B2, and then the C series, C1, 2, and 3. Now, the exercises we've gone for to develop this upper body aesthetic physique are incline dumbbell press. We're going to hit the muscle in the lengthened position for the pecs. Lat pull down, obviously to target the lats. Flat machine press. And I'll come on to why I've programmed a machine press and what that can do for the sets. Cable row to hit the upper back and trap region. Lateral raises instead of shoulder press. And the reason I do that is because the cable row will hit the back of the shoulders. The incline press will also hit the front. So we want to really double down on how much we're hitting the lateral delt specifically. We then got bicep curls and we've got dips. Bicep curls, I would be programming a preacher curl, but one where your arm is ideally on the other side of the preacher, so it's flat and you've got no means of cheating. Or, in fact, no, I wouldn't cancel that. I would program a standing cable curl for the reason being it will keep the tension on the bicep all the way through the movement, especially in that lengthened position when your arm is straight at the bottom, because the cable wants to pull you backwards, you're holding it there in place. So I would actually go for that one. My next choice would have been the preacher curl. And then we're going to do dips for triceps. The reason being, the triceps are a big meaty muscle. They can take a lot of load, and I've found the dips to work really well for me over the last few weeks, just for the fact that you can load them at the bottom in the lengthened position when you're generally strongest. Now we're going to go on to sets, and this is obviously how many, going back to the volume, how much we're going to accrue across the week. Now, as we've gone for incline press, we are going to do 2 sets here and 2 sets on the lat pull down. Now, the way we achieve this, we're going to do a top set of 6 to 10. We're going to go as heavy as we possibly can, put as much stimulus as we possibly can through that exercise, through that muscle, through that range of motion and that movement pattern. And from there, after our rest and also the other exercise, and when we come back to it, we're then going to do a back off set. The reason for the back off set is it will manage the fatigue that you have built up in the first set. And because we can manage the fatigue, you can then go into the next set and really fucking send it and get the most out of yourself. Almost look at it like if you were to rest for, if we both did a set and I get to rest for 2 minutes, you get to rest for 1. We'll both put the same amount of effort in for set 2, but I should be able to achieve more because I've managed my fatigue more efficiently. Now, we don't have the ability to just keep pushing rest back, but what we can do is reduce the load so that we've managed the load relative to the fatigue that we were just accumulating. That's the reason why I believe a top set and a back off set will work very effective for you. So for sets here, when we're doing that, we're going to do 2 sets. Now, on the machine press, we can actually do 3 sets. The reason being, a machine press is more stable, therefore more loadable, so we can afford to do 2 back off sets versus the incline press where the stabilizers are going to have to work a lot harder. See how we're trying to be efficient with our energy when time is of the essence. And the reason I've programmed this for a cable row, or you could do some form of a chest supported row as well, is because generally people are weaker in that upper back region because of just posture from the modern day, and that's why I'd put the extra set in there. Lateral raises, bicep curls and dips, smaller areas, and unfortunately we haven't got the time to hit them twice, so we're going to have to double up on the sets and go to 4 apiece with going from one to the next and keep rotating it round like that. With it being a smaller muscle group, we want to accumulate more volume and time and attention on there, so the rep range is higher of a 12 to 15. The tempo, this is the speed you're going to perform each repetition, and I've kept it the same across the board. And the reason I did that, it also helped with the amount of time that we're going to be doing the exercise. So the 3 is the eccentric, and that's the lowering phase of the rep. You're going to spend 3 seconds on all of these. Very important, you control that way down. Number 1 here is the time spent in the lengthened position when you get that pause. You don't bounce out from the bottom. Most people come down fast, bounce from the bottom, and then drive the way up. You're going to spend 1 second. Be present at the bottom of that movement. Be in control of the load at all times. Then the time here is the time it takes to contract the load back to the top. It says 1, it may take you 1.5, 2, and to be honest, towards the back end of the set, that last rep may take you 3 seconds to get it back up. And then we've got the time spent in the shortened position, and that's going to be a 1 here. RAR is going to be at 0 for all of them. We haven't got time to be training with 1 rep in reserve. We want to be literally taking them all to failure every set to get the most amount of stimulus we can. Rest times, we want at least 90 seconds on our main compound exercises and 60 on our isolation. And then we've also got the time it takes to accumulate the set itself. And then that accumulates the time spent in the workout. 58 minutes, but let's say you need to warm up for the first 2, so there's your 2 minutes gone with that. So within an hour, we can have hit everything we needed to, with intensity, with a certain amount of volume, where we're going to be doing this. With this workout, you're going to do this twice per week as a non-negotiable. Even if you can only train twice per week, you're going to do this exact workout. I'm going to tell you how you're going to hit your lower body in a second. Ideally, if you can train 3 times a week, you're going to do this workout on Monday and Friday. You're going to do workout B on a Wednesday and continue to run exactly with this. Now, as we look at the B session, this is for your legs, and also we're going to hit abs on here as well. So we're going to hit the muscle in the shortened position first, where we're generally weakest, with leg extensions and hamstring curl. This will also serve as a warm-up exercise, and we'll be able to get a lot of blood into the tissue before we go into our main money makers. Our main money makers that hit the muscle in the lengthened position and have the most joints moving are our leg press, where it's going to hit the quads and the glutes, and then also the Smith machine RDL, which is going to hit the glutes and the hamstrings. We're then going to into our C series, where we're going to do walking lunges, calf raises, and then also hitting abs. Remember, you're going to go leg extension, hamstring curl. Now, I do appreciate here, you may not have the ability to go from such big exercises one to the other, so you may have to just run 2 sets and then 2 sets on here. You'll notice we are only at 2 sets with this because we want to put as much load as humanly possible through the leg press and also through the RDL, and then back off and keep the same intensity. Tempo always stays the same. The rule of thumb with this is control the way down, pause the bottom, then come back up. Every rep is done with composure. Rest times, higher in the start of the session and then lower in the back end. And then obviously the time spent doing this. Now, in the event that you can only train twice per week, your goal was to just keep strengthening the lower body, but was to build an aesthetic upper body, this is what I would do. I would take the leg press out of this exercise, only the leg press. The reason I would take the leg press is you are loading the quads, so the knee joint is bending. You are loading the glutes, so the hip joint is bending. So this is giving you the most bang for buck. You're not really training hamstrings, which is a shame, but I'll be honest, I think I would much rather prefer strong quads over strong hamstrings. So that's why I would take this one out first. But what I would do is I would then choose between incline press or lat pull down, and one of those on the second session would be getting ditched. You could also, because you're going to do 2 sessions per week, one session you could ditch the lat pull down and do the leg press, and on the other session you could ditch the incline press and do the RDL. You could do it that way, but then now you really are eating into that upper body volume. I wouldn't want to do that. I would want to just remove one of them, lose 2 sets, do my absolute maintenance on the leg press, fucking send it, move as much load as possible, and I'm going to have challenged the knee joint and the quads, I'm going to challenge the hip joint and the glutes, and I'm going to get a lot of bang for my buck from that exact exercise. So that's what I'd be doing if I could only train twice per week. So they are the workout routines. Make sure you take screenshots and you follow them. And going back to what we discussed, we now have your needs analysis, why you are going to do something and the reason for it. The 3 pillars of programming being frequency, how many times you need to train. So let's think how many times we can train, and then dividing the effort up in between that. Volume, we want to get as close to 10 sets as possible per week. Unfortunately, on the arms and delts, you're only going to get 8, but on the other days, you're going to get 10. So maybe it would even serve you to drop one of the, if we go to this workout again, maybe you drop this to 2 as well, but then you're only going to get 8 here, and then squeezing this to 10. I mean, obviously this is minimalist approach, so we can't always have our cake and eat it. So the volume can't always be there, unless you've got the time just to allocate another set to each of these, and then go from there. So And that is everything. Obviously, we know you need to train hard. You need to train with intensity, or you're not going to see the change anyway. If you found this video useful, subscribe to the channel. If you want to work specifically with me, there'll be a link in the description. And I will see you tomorrow.